Maximilian Verstappen, one of the most legendary F1 drivers of the 21st century, and I'm not saying that lightly. I mean, we've had Vettel, Hamilton, Alonso, Raikkonen, Schumi for God's sakes, and I would still put Verstappen up there with the rest of them. And what makes it even more special is that he's not only a three-time world champion, but also a fucking petulant child. Honestly, the scenes we'd witnessed in Barcelona were nothing short of petty, immature, and fucking hilarious. But the funniest bit to me was the fact that everyone seemed to be so damn surprised about it. So many people seemed like they were just outraged, called it an absolute scandal, and how could he? What do you fucking mean? It's Max we're talking about. Where were you the past decade to be so damn flabbergasted by a bit of rubbing from the Dutchman? I mean, honestly, I consider my memory to be shot to bits, but y'all seem to have the mental capacity of a fucking teaspoon. Alright, sorry, that was uncalled for. Teaspoons are cool, you know? I even collected them when I was a kid. I just kind of ended up stealing a few every week from my school cafeteria, just to see what they would do when they suddenly ran out of teaspoons 4 times in the span of a semester. Yeah, I'm a menace to society. Let me take you on a short story to show you exactly why you really shouldn't be surprised that Max is all of a sudden acting like a little kid at the supermarket that's just been told by his parents that they will not buy him the 300-pound Lego set. And also why this might be the beginning of the end of Max's career. Actually, like, may very well be, mate. I'm dead serious this time. You know, if on my previous video I took the time to clarify that it was not a hate video towards Georgie, in this one I'm just not going to say anything. To understand how Max became who he is today, let's give a bit of a recap on how he even got to Formula 1. Let's go all the way back, mate, to Max's good old days when he was just a cute little button of a child with only the slight hints of the devil living inside him. Max's childhood was not only filled by wealth, opulence, and self-righteousness, like most F1 drivers have, his was also populated by the failed parenting and anger outbursts of his dad, sprinkled with some F1 know-how here and there. This is what set Maxi apart from the crowd early on. He won a whole bunch of karting championships, an unprecedented feat in the history of the discipline, they say. So, big deal in the karting world, apparently. Too bad nobody gives a fuck about karting. And so Maxi took massive leaps throughout his junior career, only doing 1 year of F3 and then skipping F2 altogether to leapfrog into the big league, straight to F1 at 17. Because why the fuck not? Despite being only, what, 30? I don't actually know how old he is. 1 second. Max Verstappen. 1997. 27. What the fuck? How the... Oh, mate. I feel so fucking old right now. It's not even funny. Despite being 27, the lad has been in the sport for 11 years already. More than a fucking decade, mate. The reason for such outlandish success, I personally attribute to several things. His secret to success has not been just, the cool racecraft he learned from his absolutely mental daddy, and his ability to fast and furious the car during a Japanese monsoon like his fucking Rain Man, but also, importantly, his secret sauce, his temper. The temper has allowed him to take his racing abilities to the extreme, dedicating himself fully to the sport and even intimidating his counterparts. Now, how can a bad fucking temper lead to F1 achievements, you might add? Well, I'm glad you fucking asked me, because I have spent an unnecessary time thinking about this, so I've come up with a few answers. But here's just 2 of them, because nobody wants to hear everything I have to say anyways. Well, the obvious answer, and the less interesting one, which is why I'll just mention this in passing, part of his temper is also his complete and full commitment to the sport. Some might even call it excessive. Don't know where you're getting that from. He lives and breathes motorsport, doesn't have many other interests, and even when he's off track, he is on one. Virtually. If he wasn't a 3-time world champion and worth like £100 million, I would call him a nerd, a dork, and tell him to get a personality. But he is one. So I'll just shut the fuck up. Nevertheless, he spent so much time dedicating his life and energy to the sport that it has most certainly paid dividends in the long term throughout his career. And so that passion, it's infectious. Or toxic. Depends on your HR policy. I mean, I think it is quite difficult not to be pushed to your limit if you are his pit wall, knowing that if you snooze and mess up the stop, you will never hear the end of it, and may very well be expected to start browsing for a new job because Max will never let it slide. He will make sure you're on your first train home if he finds you at fault. I've taken also another, more interesting perspective on the matter. What I would argue is that his trademark temper has pushed away all potential direct competition in the sport, as his temper has likely been the main source of his driving style, which has been widely described as fucking mental and more convulsive than a Parkinson's patient on an 8-ball. Okay, not a direct quote, but that's how I interpreted the feedback. And this was given by none other than Alex Albon, his ex-teammate, famously tossed out of the RB car in a matter of fucking races because he was just simply unable to tame this ridiculously jerky car. But apparently perfect for the Dutch slot. This is a brilliant way of ensuring you will become world champion. I mean, step 1, make it to F1. Pretty straightforward. If Stroll made it in, who wouldn't? Step 2, join a top team capable of potentially making a championship winning car at some point in the next 10 years. So just make sure you're not in a Ferrari, mate. Step 3, make the car so undrivable to anyone else so that once you do have the best car on the grid, your main competitor, who of course is none other than your teammate, is literally incapable of making it into the points and is sent off to the feeder team to retire 10 years early. Because there is just no coming back from this abomination, as you're not even able to make it out of Q1 and the championship RB. Oh, fuck off. There's no fucking way he's coming back. There's no way. Fuck off. This is not happening. When the going is good, it is really good. But when the things are bad, they're really, really bad. His infamous temper serves as a great catalyst of the racing environment he's in. And it has served him a lot of good, clearly. But also has a bit of a flip side. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean he's going to win races, because if the car is bad, then the temper is actually... Oh, fuck it. Okay, this is too confusing. To prove what I mean, let's go through the main few chapters of his career quickly, and you'll understand my point. Hopefully. When he first joined the sport, he was a rookie, kind of getting the feel for the whole thing. That is, of course, until he reached Monaco that very same year and slapped into the wall trying to cut across Grosjean. Really didn't take that long for him to acclimate. He had then progressed into an absolutely fucking loose cannon of a mode, being branded as dangerous and just an absolute fucking menace to everyone and anything that is within a 10-meter radius of the F1 track. Luckily for Max, however, things started looking up as he pushed out the Aussie prospect out of his team. Literally. The car was slowly gaining race pace, and before you knew it, the kid was up there contending with the not-so-silver arrows anymore. The unstoppable force, in this case we're talking about the propulsion of Max's self-centeredness, meets the immovable object, the hybrid-era fighter jet sporting the Mercedes logo in the late 2010s. And even though his temper and opinion of himself could not get any bigger, we still celebrated him. We all stood and cheered and bought the damn Max Verstappen cap because we couldn't believe what we were seeing. A car being able to qualify and actually score against Lewis Hamilton. We're skipping Bottas here because, well, it wasn't much of a feat finishing ahead of the lad, now was it? And so we all just ate up his absolutely atrocious personality and behavior because we thought it was like, this is what it takes, and we will fucking take it, mate. And let me just say something here now. I do not regret it for a fucking second, mate. Anything over a 1-2 by the Mercs back in the day. I'll take World War III over that any day. And I'm not even German. Now, fast forward to a few years, and Max is just on top of the world. And importantly, this is where the temper tantrums and petulant outbursts pretty much stop, and Maxi becomes an almost likable human being. Because his car was finishing the Grand Prix while the rest of the grid was still considering if they should do a 1 or 2 stop. There was just no need for any effort to come from the Dutchman. And so, he didn't care that much anymore. He was achieving everything he ever dreamed of. He was actually getting f***ing bored of the whole thing, and on occasion even stayed up the night before to play sim racing with the lads back home. He stayed up to play a fucking driving simulator the night before the fucking Grand Prix. This is like Dennis Rodman vibes, but instead of banging 20 girls and doing blue in a nightclub before the game, Max was just, being a 25-year-old and playing video games. Pretty much the same thing. Now we've come back to the present. The McLaren era, as I've branded it. Let's now please remember that I was the one that started saying it first, okay? Before the rest of you chumps started jumping on the bandwagon, I f***ing called it first, mate, okay? Just let me have this. Just stop. Let me have this, please. I f***ing need it. Here's where things suddenly turn south. Now, all of a sudden, Maxi's starting to face competition from the McLarens. And it doesn't matter if the Red Bull is the team that was struggling, or the McLaren team that's suddenly unlocked the same secret formula and has finally gotten their hands on the same Kool-Aid Maxi's been sipping before the races. It doesn't matter. You know, when your bird leaves you for your best friend, whether it's because she finally realized how much of an imbecile you are, or just that your best friend has now bought a subscription to Sky, it doesn't matter. The outcome is the same. She gets to have an actual relationship with a normal human being, and I get to siphon off my buddy's Sky account. Win-win. In this case, the result was that Maxi was suddenly feeling the pressure again. And at first, he was able to either tame his ego, or he had buried it under so many layers of sim racing banter and cats that he had forgotten who he really was for a bit. But when shit started to really hit the fan, it all came storming back. Like a fucking tsunami, mate. So, same exact behavior he's exhibiting today, he was showing off in 2020 and 2021, battling against Lulu. The main difference now is that the context is different. He's no longer the underdog trying to take the bone from the biggest bullies the sport has ever seen. And yeah, he was a bit rough about it. But who cares? It was all worth it to us at the time. Now he is the long-time bully, getting attacked by the underdogs and is showing the same petulant behavior as he was before. We just view it differently. We view it for what it fucking is now. The desperate acts of an egotistical child doing everything to ensure the spotlight remains on him and he does not lose an inch of tarmac to the other kids. I guess some things never change. Even though he now has a private jet and a yacht, still a little fucking prat. Now, as I hinted at previously, this is part of Max's formula. He is phenomenally fast and at the same time extremely ill-tempered, which just amplifies everything 10x. And it worked before. When he was working his way through the ranks, it served him well. Firstly making a name for himself among the paddock, getting nice and comfortable with racing all these old geezers, then acting as a compounding effect, supporting his final crusade against the almighty Hamilton as the greatest underdog of all time. And then being suppressed to a degree when sitting at the top of the throne, while now, when losing the dominant position in the car, he has no choice but to revert back to his factory settings and become a pissy little bitch. But this time, the trajectory is downward facing. So, in essence, the lack of progress increases his bitchiness, which is amplified 10x by his horrific temper, which leads to even worse results, which is further 10x, which then leads to something that we saw in Barcelona, where he drops far down the order because of an absolutely absurd move, inflicting further damage on himself and the team. It's a recipe for disaster, and it's only going to get worse. With time, I only see a few outcomes, and none of them are pretty. If this downward trajectory continues within Red Bull, the regressive tendency will continue until Max hits absolute rock bottom and is branded as a fucking lost cause, and either he quits or Red Bull will have no other choice than to tell him to fuck off and put him in timeout for bad behavior. So, yeah, it's looking pretty grim in my opinion. But there's always hope. There's hope for young Maxi. I mean, what he needs, according to my faultless and foolproof theory I just came up with 10 minutes ago, is an upward trajectory. And luckily for him, there is a severe regulation change coming just next year. So, either Red Bull manages to get back on the horse for the new era, I severely doubt it, as the brains of the team has just jumped ship. All we're really left with in command is a touchy little gremlin. Innocent until proven guilty, of course. So, yeah. I think it's time to go window shopping, Max. I guess let's try and find you a home whose owner you haven't pissed off already.